I'm the Godless Engineer. And today I would like to take time to discuss a certain issue that I have with the Christian community. Basically, my point of view is that there really isn't anything good in the Bible. Even when you find the Bible to be like at its most compassionate, it actually is very harmful. Just any belief that doesn't really comport with reality, that denies any part of reality, is going to be harmful in some way, or potentially harmful. That's a personal view that I've actually come to have here recently. And I would like to kind of discuss this today using a video by, admittedly, a popular Facebook preacher. I hate using them, but I got a request to do a refutation of another one of his videos, so that's why I'm doing it. Please don't hate, because I'm actually addressing this fool.
The problem with our love is that it's flawed.
Interesting proposition there, Josh. I would have to agree on part, just because I do believe that there are some flawed things that are considered love. Most notably, like domestic abuse. A lot of that is seen as well, he just loves me. He just loves me so much. That's why he punches me in the eye. If you don't believe that women actually rationalize it like that, here you go.
If your boyfriend or the guy that you're with puts his hands on you, like he hits you or beats you up or whatever he does, stay with him. That nigga fucking loves you, because he's risking for you to press charges on him. He's risking for, you calling the police, or he's gonna do time, or he's gonna have to pay money to get out of jail, or whatever the case may be. He's risking all of that.
Now, Josh here is saying this all inclusively, just that, our love by nature is flawed. I don't think so. I think that there are instances of flawed love, but on the whole, there's not going to be just everybody has a flawed sense of love. It's just fucking ignorant. Also, I'd like to point out that the relationship that a lot of Christians supposedly have with God hits a lot of the red flags listed on domestic abuse sites as being an abusive relationship. So, fun fact.
Well, at least mine, because oftentimes we want to love within the paradigm and the parameters, within the parentheses of what we like. If you fit within that circle, then I can love you.
I gotta say, his use of paradigm, parameters, and parentheses just pisses me the fuck off. I mean, that's like his mantra. Paradigm, parameters, and parentheses. Paradigm, parameters, and parentheses. Any time that he wants to be inclusive about something, a parenthesis is used to insert words or phrases that don't necessarily flow with the paragraph. Like, you insert them as like a caveat or something extra. You can take out what's in a parentheses and the rest of the paragraph flows seamlessly. Like, it's extra information. So I have no idea why he includes parentheses on this list. I'm guessing that it's some kind of flawed sense of mathematics, because you in mathematics you use parentheses to state, well, you do this set of calculations first and then you go on to the other, so it's like contained or whatnot. I think that's where he's coming from, but I have no fucking idea. Parameters and paradigm actually kind of works with what he's talking about here, but at the same time, when he pairs it with parentheses because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, he just sounds dumb as shit.
The problem is that when we look at Jesus, he's exactly the opposite. He is love, agape, love without boundaries, love without limits.
I'm sorry. No, wait, excuse me. I'm not fucking sorry. Your love should absolutely have fucking boundaries. You don't have to love every single person. That's just ignorant. Okay? And to say that Jesus, doesn't have boundaries to his love or whatnot is totally disingenuous to what is actually in the Bible. There's actually one passage in the Bible where he denies helping out this Gentile woman until she compares herself to dogs, basically, and say that, even dogs get table scraps. And so he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll shoot some piss poor magic your way and do whatever the fuck you want. So Jesus has absolute limitations on his love or on his influence or whatnot. There's even a passage in the Bible where he says that, if you are to follow me, you need to hate your mother, your brother, your sister, your family, and everything. You need to fucking hate them. Also, just to point out another instance, he had he commanded his disciples to bring anyone that doesn't subject to his will in front of him and kill them right in front of him. So, to say that Jesus doesn't have limitations on his love is really disregarding a lot of the New Testament that even Christians like this douchebag right here love to just cling onto and say, no, I follow the New Testament. Sorry for that little tangent, but this actually brings me to my original point. Back to my original point, though, you should definitely have limitations on your love. If you're in a domestic abuse situation right now, I implore you to seek help and find some way out of it. The person that has to beat the significant other in order to show their love doesn't really fucking love you, okay? They just like having a punching bag. They like to have an outlet for their anger, and they have chosen physical violence. You need to get the fuck away from that person, okay? Now, this could also play a part in this vicious cycle of pedophilia in the church. Because what Josh is basically saying here is that you need to love everybody regardless. Like, you don't need to have boundaries on your love. So the pastor that fucks your son or daughter in the rectory, you need to just love them, because that's what Jesus would do. Jesus would love and forgive that person and move on with your life, so that that priest or pastor can go on to fuck other children and get those families to be like, okay, well, I forgive you and I still love you. That's what it would mean to have, like, love without limitations. Let me tell you this. You don't need to fucking love pedophiles. You don't, let me just stress this before we go on. You don't need to love everybody. Don't listen to this fool if you are indeed a Christian.
He doesn't just love people within the parameters of what he likes, because the reality is we're all sinners and he hates sin. No. When he goes to the cross, he doesn't just go for the woman that wept at his tomb. He doesn't just go for the man that carried his cross. No, he also went for the Roman soldier who beat him into a bloody pulp. He went for the crowd that was screaming, "Crucify him." He went for the people that were mocking him, berating him. He went for everybody.
I don't think that he did. Like he only went to the cross for people that would believe in him. Seriously, if he actually went to the cross for everybody and is all inclusive, like Josh is purporting him to be here, wouldn't you think that you wouldn't need to blindly believe in him in order to get access to this forgiveness? So he's got a hidden like little asterisk, like, one of those little fucking small things at the bottom of ads that say, oh, hey, look, you got this great price right here, but then there's this caveat up in the corner that's going to fuck you over later. Basically what he's saying is that Jesus Christ went to the cross and died, which he didn't, obviously, and died for everybody's sins so that they could have forgiveness. But the caveat is that it's only people that blindly believe in him and get to go to heaven that he went and actually died for. He didn't die for everybody. He died for everybody in the sense that everybody can choose to believe in him. That I get in that sense, that's it. But That's not a very truthful sense, because it's loaded. Because it assumes that you believe in him in order to, get this forgiveness. So Josh here is being pretty disingenuous and is obviously highlighting some positive aspects of Christianity and this sacrifice that Jesus supposedly gave for us in order to sway people to that side, or to more likely keep people in the faith.
And yet we as the church, we want to somehow put these parentheses of who God loves. Really?
I would like to stress again that when you use parentheses in a grammatical nature, you can perfectly take those out and the entire paragraph flows fine. So basically it feels like Josh is saying here is that God has placed these people in these parentheses, but fuck them. They can be just taken out and everything will be fine. You're just trying, you could throw you away and, you won't fucking matter at all. That's what it feels like to me.
Maybe I would challenge the church to look outside of the parameters of their four walls.
Wow, a correct use of words there. Bravo, Josh, bravo.
And realize that if they are to love, then they have to love as Christ, which means they can't just love the people that look like them, that think like them, that act like them. It's time that we stop standing at the church door and beginning to relegate who is allowed to come in, who God loves, who's good, who's bad.
Who's good? Isn't that like the entire argument of the Christian community? Not on the whole, just like that's one pillar that the Christian community really pushes, is that without Christianity, without God, you can't tell right from wrong, good from bad. Like, you need that ultimate moral authority to do so. But he is saying right here that it's not the church's responsibility to do that? Okay. He's an evangelical preacher. Okay, he's an internet evangelical preacher, but he's an evangelical preacher, okay? So he's completely being disingenuous right here. Because that is one of the main things that the Bible not only teaches, but that most, if not all, of the Christian community really pushes. They admit that you don't have to believe in God in order to be good or whatnot, but a lot of apologists out there like to present the idea that you need God in order to determine if you're good or bad. So this fucker right here is being completely disingenuous to his own faith.
And it's time that we open our arms like Christ did and love them all. It hurt me. The other day I was there in a restaurant when a lady came up to me. I invited her to come to the church that I was speaking at, and she said, "I can't. I'm gay." And I looked at her and said, "So?" She said, "Well, churches, you guys don't really like gays." I said, "Like gays? I love gays."
Are you buying this story at all so far? Because I'm really fucking not. Like, in the least bit. Because I'm fairly certain that he was probably sitting at a Burger King or an In-N-Out or something, and he made up this story about a homosexual woman coming in and him loving her and whatnot. And it was like, oh, that would make a great video for me to shoot on my new Red camera that I fucking bought with people's money, even though I offered atheists $100,000 to prove that God doesn't exist or some shit. But yet I needed to beg my fan base in order to get money to buy a camera, which apparently he has 2 fucking cameras now. What the hell?
I stood up there in the middle of that restaurant and wrapped my arms around her, and she said it was the most pure moment of love that she had ever felt. Why? Because it was Christ wrapping his arms around a sinner just like me. Maybe it's time the church starts loving like that.
Okay. This sounds really good and wholesome. Like, he did a good job. Even if it was real and not just blatantly fake as fuck, it seems like he's doing something good. But if you take a second and really think about the Christian faith and what it says about homosexuality and whatnot, and him getting to bring this homosexual woman to his church, it really just seems like he's bringing her there to turn her away from her homosexuality. and that she's just really living in sin, and, you know, she needs to give that shit up and, you know, completely go back to just lying about who she really is. Because in the Christian faith, what it says is that you don't need to live in sin anymore. You need to be more like Jesus, and therefore you need to give up sin, right? And homosexuality is a sin, and to them it's a choice, right? So basically what Josh is doing here is he is saying that I want to bring you to my church, Miss Homosexual Woman, that I made up in my head, and we're gonna bring you there, and we're gonna turn you against your homosexuality. We're going to teach you that you're not really homosexual, and in order to get into this glorious party up in heaven that's actually more like a bunch of robots walking around and just praising God all fucking day. If you want to get up there, then you've got to give up that life and admit that you're not really gay. This is emotionally abusive. Like, to say that, to make somebody feel so secure enough to go to a place that they've never been to before or anything like that, despite the fact that a lot of the Christian community do not like gays being in their church or anything like that. You know, to bring them in there and then to tell them that they're sinful and they're flawed and you need to give it up, and, you know, you're making baby Jesus cry on a daily fucking basis. That's just fucking emotionally abusive. And it goes back to the whole, you know, domestic abuse red flags. It really is an abusive relationship because in the Christian faith it tells you that you are a flawed creature, that, you know, you need to feel horrible for having basic fucking human feelings. And so while Josh's message here does seem positive, you know, by being inclusive to the homosexual community, to the LGBT community, it's really subversively horrible, because he's saying that he's bringing a LGBT member to church, and then that church is going to subsequently turn her away from her homosexuality and tell her that, you know, she's sinning and that she needs to feel horrible and she needs to beg forgiveness from the great rapist in the sky.
Loving the people that God, Christ, would love in this world. I challenge you today, love like Jesus loved.
Oh, and then he walks off into the landscape of buildings behind him. If only there was an edge nearby. I'm not saying that he needs to die or anything, but a fall couldn't hurt him. It might knock some fucking sense into this guy. Well, I hope that you have stuck with me this far. I don't plan on doing many more of his videos, but this was, in particular, a video I felt really showed how subversively horrible the Christian faith can be. That you know, him saying, "Oh, I love and I accept gays," but you're still sinning, and, you know, you should feel horrible about that shit, and you need to beg for forgiveness from this giant rapist in the sky that inconvenienced himself for a few days in order to get back home. Please go down below, like, comment. Let me know what you think about Feuerstein, if you are still interested in him anymore. Let me know what you think about him. He's not going away anytime soon because, you know, his daddy keeps giving him his weekly allowance, and he keeps feeding that directly into Facebook. And so, you know, he's going to continue to grow and get bigger and do things and whatnot. So we're stuck with him, as much as I don't like it. That's why I'm only using this video as like a springboard to discuss a deeper issue. That's it. So don't forget to subscribe. Go down there, hit that subscribe button. If you want more, you know, kind of ad hoc commentary from me pointing out the horrible nature of Christianity that it is, even at what seems like its best, is actually pretty horrible, in my opinion. So if you want to follow that, go down there, subscribe, and follow me as I present my arguments for that. Before I head out, though, I would really like to just remind you guys about the Mythicist Milwaukee conference that's going to be going on April 25th. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be broadcasting live from the event, and I really hope to have a lot of people on camera to tell me, how they feel about a historical Jesus, and how they feel about other myths as they relate to religiosity as we see it today. I would really love to have those conversations and have people on camera talking about their own personal views, because I feel like everybody needs to have their opinion heard, no matter what it is. I hope you will join me for the Mythicist Milwaukee's Myth Information Conference, and I hope to see you there. And, of course, don't forget to